Welcome to the chapter Dual Nature of Radiation and Matter. Today, fourth lecture, we are going to discuss the topics verification of laws of photoelectric effect based on Einstein's photoelectric equation, applications of photoelectric effect with an example photocell, photons, expression for de Broglie wavelength, de Broglie conclusion and other forms of de Broglie wavelength. Now, we will study one by one. Verification of laws of photoelectric effect based on Einstein's photoelectric equation. We already studied that the maximum kinetic energy of an electron which emits from the metal surface 1 by 2 mass into the square of maximum velocity, that is equal to h into nu minus nu naught, where nu represents frequency, nu naught represents threshold frequency. So, if nu is less than nu naught, then what happens? Then 1 by 2 mass into maximum velocity square is negative, which is not possible. Let us see how it is. You can check here, k maximum is equal to, then if nu is less than nu naught, it is negative. If it is nu greater than nu naught, then it is positive. Therefore, for photoelectric emission to take place, nu must be greater than nu naught. That means the frequency of light which falls on a metal must be greater than the threshold frequency. Then only the electron can emit out, or photoelectric emission is possible. Let us go to the second one. Since one photon emits one electron, the number of photoelectrons emitted per second is directly proportional to the intensity of incident light. You can see in the picture, when a photon collides or hits, then immediately an electron jumps out. That means one photon can emit out one electron. So, third point, it is clear that 1 by 2 mass into the maximum velocity square is proportional to nu, that is frequency, as h represents Planck's constant and nu naught represents threshold frequency. So, these two will be constant always. This shows that the kinetic energy of photoelectron is directly proportional to the frequency of incident light. That means, if the frequency is larger, then the kinetic energy is more. If frequency becomes less, but it must be greater than threshold frequency, then the kinetic energy also becomes less. Last one. Photoelectric emission is due to collision between a photon and an electron. There cannot be any significant time lag between incidence of photon and emission of photoelectron. That means it is spontaneous, or you can say instantaneous process. So, we will go with the next point, applications of photoelectric effect with an example of photocell. Now, what is a photocell? A device which converts light energy into electrical energy is called photoelectric cell, and it is sometimes called as photocell, or you can say electric eye also. We already know in photoelectric emission, when radiation of suitable frequency falls on cathode, immediately the electrons will emit out and those electrons will go to the anode side, and if the electrons are continuation in the circuit, then there will be a flow of current. So, that can be easily measured by micrometer. So, using this process, now photoelectric cells where we are using. So, photoelectric cells we are using in TV, camera, maybe for telecasting some scenes, all those things, even in phototelegraphy, video recording, nowadays in burglar alarm, and even photocells are used to measure the temperature of stars and study the spectrum also. They are used to switch on and off the street lights without any manual attention. So, even they are used in the photometry to compare the illuminating powers of two sources. We already studied in the previous session about Einstein's photoelectric equation. There said about a photon. Now let us study about that photon, what actually a photon is. Usually we call photons the packets of energy. Photons are electrically neutral, that means they will not deflect either by electric field or magnetic field. The rest mass of photon is always 0. And the energy of photon is calculated by h nu, or you can say hc by lambda. Its momentum is h divided by lambda. Next one, energy and momentum depends only on frequency, or you can say on wavelength. And another point, when photon collides with a particle, then total momentum will remain conserved. All photons possess same energy irrespective of intensity of light. It means maybe the intensity increase or decrease, but photon energy will always remain same. So what happens if you increase the intensity, then only the number of photons will increase, but not its energy. So now we are going to study the expression for de Broglie wavelength. According to de Broglie, a moving particle can be associated with a wave, which can guide the wave motion of particle. The waves which associated with the moving material particles are known as de Broglie waves. The wavelength of matter wave is called de Broglie wavelength. Energy of a photon of frequency nu is given by E is equal to h nu. So we already studied nu is the frequency, h is Planck's constant. So let us consider that is equation 1, and if we consider photon as a particle of mass m, and then its energy is equal to m into c square, where c represents the speed of light. Let us consider that as a second equation, and equating these two, we can say that h nu is equal to m into c square. Now we already studied that here nu, the value of nu is equal to c by lambda. Using this equation, if I replace, therefore we can write it as hc divided by lambda, that is equal to m into c square. So left side and right side cc will, therefore here LHS and RHS part c cancels, and we can write it as h divided by lambda, that is equal to m into c. So we can simply write a final equation as lambda is equal to h by m into c, that is equal to h by p. We can say here p is the momentum, h is Planck's constant, m is the mass of photon which we considered like a particle, and c is the speed of light. So this we can say as the expression of de Broglie wavelength. So here lambda indicates the de Broglie wavelength. Now we will go to the another part, de Broglie. What is his conclusion? Now we are going to study the de Broglie conclusion. We already have a equation lambda is equal to h by m into v. Here h is a constant quantity, but only variables are in the right hand side, mass and velocity. But these two mass and velocities are inversely proportional to the lambda. Therefore, let us consider one by one. If the velocity is equal to 0, then mathematically we can say h divided by m into 0, that is denominator becomes 0. So this lambda we cannot find out, that is infinite. If velocity is very high, then this wavelength will be very small, which is invisible. If velocity is very small, then wavelength is maximum. Now another quantity which is variable, that is mass. If the mass is very small, like photons or even electrons we can say, then the wavelength will be very high, or we can say it has a large wavelength. Suppose the mass is very high, like let us consider a stone, then its mass is very maximum. That means if we take h constant, h Planck's, that means if we divide the mass with the Planck's constant, which is into 10 to the power of minus 34. So, if we divide that, then this wavelength will be very, very small, which is again invisible. So, now we are going to say these are the conclusions. And matter waves are not electromagnetic waves because they are not produced by accelerated charges. So, wave-like properties are exhibited by both charged and neutral particles also. Okay. Thank you, student. Thank you.